Yes, good evening and welcome, GunSlingerz. Again, it's your Wednesday night fix of GunSlingerz, and wow, today we've got such a big show for you guys, and obviously the lineup requires, for the big show, the lineup is says it all really. We got GunnerKing, Brezzy, Gunner Page, MrSilvaFox, Gumsa, our man Nigerian English from One Touch TV.
No disconnect. That's disconnect. It goes down with my disconnect.
Love that.
No disconnect.
Hey!
Oh yeah, now. My people.
Tremendous. Listen, I just want to say, guys, I know we enjoying the Euros actually. Just one, the goals have been ridiculous.
So. Today was madness.
It's been slick.
10 goals.
Madness today. I have to say, I'm enjoying it. To be fair, seen any players that you guys like at all? Anyone that you'd have?
There's a few. Yeah, there is a few. There's one guy that's definitely gone under the radar because he hasn't had a lot of minutes. He plays for Holland, Marlon. I think he set up the second goal.
He used to be at Arsenal.
He's been Arsenal.
Yeah. Good little player.
You see how we do things.
Yeah, I like Holland's centre back as well. He looks quite tidy.
I think Dumfries, man. We need a right back.
Yeah, he's good as well.
Yeah, he looks decent.
Decent. Guys, so look,
there's a guy in the football stadium in his boxers.
Sorry?
There's a guy in the football stadium in his boxers.
All right, Brezzy.
Love for the Euros.
Brezzy's getting ideas, is he?
Brezzy's going to go viral next week.
Swiftly moving on.
Can we just mention that young fella that played for England last night? He was pretty decent, wasn't he?
What was his name again?
Not bad.
What's his name?
The match. What's his name?
He looked quite familiar.
How do you pronounce it?
He's
decent.
Nigerian origin, isn't he?
Wait, isn't Greenwood better than Saka?
Allegedly.
Apparently.
That's what they've been saying. That's what the
we just let them talk. We'll let them talk.
Yeah, let them talk. They say Shaw's better than Tierney.
Dear. But look, guys, tonight's show. Do the Kroenkes have good intentions for the Arsenal? I mean, listen, Stanley Kroenke, real estate and sports mogul, owner of the LA Rams, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, Colorado Rapids, and the Arsenal. Forbes value him at $8.2 billion. Yeah, is dubbed Silent Stan due to his silence, his notable silence. But is silence golden for the Arsenal? Is that what we require, or do we require action from our owner and decisive action? Seen as listen, we would probably all agree as a panel here. That we are in decline. It's not a transitional period at the moment. I don't see. Transitional for me means okay, we're changing from declining to actually now a forward trajectory. Don't see that at the moment. Is he going to dip into his pockets? I'm going to come to you, Nigerian Englishman, first, because you're smiling the biggest there. You got the biggest smile. But listen, he could do something this year for us. I mean, this is Arteta's first window.
He could, yeah, maybe, but from his track record, the same way you just listed all his different clubs, and then you went and the Arsenal. That's the same way he thinks about us and the Arsenal. We're like the after.
I like the way you pick up on that.
Yeah,
that wasn't prompted, by the way. That was good.
I know, because that's what it is. Literally, we're an afterthought. We're such an afterthought that the disrespect he showed us by not turning up and sending his sideman's son to deal with club business. At least if he was there, it'd make even though I don't like him, at least he's there. Do you get what I'm saying? Even some of these other owners that were involved in the Big Six, whatever, the Super League or whatever, they're at least there. I can see them. Even though they made a mistake, they're there to stand their ground. He sent his his sideman son said, "Son, look, I know you don't know what you're doing, and you're a bit of a a letdown in the family. So I'm just gonna give you this little project of Arsenal. Do your thing. I don't really care what happens. Just do your thing. Make sure it still makes us money, just about, and tell me what you do at the end of the year. Because I'm annoyed if he does invest 250 million, like I'm hearing, which I doubt. Then at least he has a little bit of a leg to stand on, because at least if he's gonna go with an inexperienced Arteta, at least 250 mil, that's him at least backing his man. At least it proves us he's backing his man, and that's the best we can expect for as Arsenal fans, because he's definitely not the owner for us. But if he's at least backing his man, what more can we ask of him right now?
100%. I agree with you. Just before I'm going to move on to the next person, I just want to kind of get a couple of comments that have just come in. Just first off, Mr. K. Hi guys, how you doing, Mr. K? Not liking that. No, we respect Paxton Road. We respect those guys. They're doing good work down the road. And we was talking actually about players that we like. Gems, is that for Sweden? Nah, not having that. Nah.
No, I mean, look, it's not
decent,
about.
To be fair,
he's decent, but it's way too early, man. Let's be realistic. Sociedad, he's done okay. Don't get me wrong. 60 million is his buyout clause. That's an obscene amount of money.
Nowhere near 60 million.
We can have Andre Silva. We can have Andre Silva from Frankfurt. 30 goals nearly in the German league for half the price.
Last player to come from the German league flopped, in my opinion. Werner.
Yeah,
Kane's better. For flip's sake. I don't want to read this one out. This guy is Kane, flipping heck. I didn't think anyone could.
Does Kane actually know that? Does Kane actually know he's in an international tournament right now? I think he's. I think he's still at home packing or something.
Kane's just trying to bring his value down, isn't he? That's what he's doing.
That's the thing. He really needs
strategic.
And to be fair, just from what you were saying there, Nigerian Englishman, Mr. K said, most of us want our club's owners and chairmen to satisfy their fan bases, which is true. Yes, the European Super League has proved we're all in the same boat, and that means that they just care about that and not the fans, in my opinion, which is probably a true reflection, because none of these guys, they're businessmen. They're true businessmen, and they're in it for the money. They're not making money. They don't want to be involved.
Canners, when your owners quoted saying stuff like, "I didn't come to Arsenal to win trophies," what else can we expect from an owner like that? Yeah. And I guess, and they said sorry, but hey, I'm not sure whether that 250 million spread over 3 seasons is true or not.
No. Listen, he's trolling there, but you know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, for real. That sounds about an Arsenal move.
So first of, coming on for swiftly or seamlessly moving on from what Nigerian Englishman said about the Kroenkes, Gumsa. I mean, listen, they are. I'm sure they're looking now to change things now. There's been a massive backlash, and with the fan base, with the European Super League, with the fact that we're finishing 8th. That there's we're stagnant at the moment by finishing 8th twice. Don't you think that they're making the right waves? They're making the right noises. I mean, yes, they say they've rejected huge bids from Daniel Ek, which would have made them a cool billion from what they've actually laid out. Do you not find them actually now saying, actually, we're going to dip onto our pockets, give back, and we're going to make things right, which may have gone, just placate a few people here?
So for me, they've done a lot of bad things. Most importantly, they weren't proactive when they needed to be. And that's the frustration for me, is when we were on the slide, they weren't putting the money in when they should have. Yes, 250, if they put 100, 150, 250 in now, it's long overdue. They should have done that a long time ago, but at least they've done it now. I don't think they're selling, and RB1. I'm not saying I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but actually, teams have done better on less. So as much as they haven't invested what we would like to see, actually, if they were more proactive and made the correct appointments or didn't let us stagnate for so long, they might not even had to put much money in order to keep us at a stronger level.
But is that down to the Kroenkes, though? I mean, the Kroenkes have put people in place to make those decisions, right?
They employ the people that allowed these bad things to happen. Again, that stat of 190 million worth of players who he's brought leaving on a free, that's yesterday. It wasn't their decision to let the players walk out, but they've employed GunSlingerz and them guys to run the club. I'll talk from experience. I don't know who my boss's boss is. He don't worry about what I'm doing on a day-to-day, but if I do something wrong, I hear from him.
Right.
So he doesn't need to. So for me, Kroenkes don't need to be seen if things are going correct. Do you know what I mean? The face of the club is the GunSlingerz and them guys at that time, but he allowed it to fall apart and didn't come out sooner. Do you know what I mean? And that's where his failings are. The money is the money. Yes, we would love for him to put more in, but he's allowed the mediocrity and allowed us to stagnate and allowed the bad management of the club to go on for too long. So at least he's showing a bit of intent at the moment. We'll see what happens with it. Hopefully the rumours are true. As I said, I would like to put blame in the right areas. I feel he let the club stagnate, and that was under the Wenger era. I think he allowed Wenger too much power, or he allowed GunSlingerz to allow Wenger that kind of power and didn't step in soon enough. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where he's massively gone wrong. But we'll see if they can get it right. I'm very not optimistic this season, but I'm going to take my time and see how things pan out. Like, I still will be Kroenke out, but at the same time, I'm not going to have the same gusto as GunnerKing, because you know what? People can learn from their mistakes and put things right, can't they? So
I'm coming to you soon, GunnerKing. Trust me, I'm coming to you soon, brother. And I'll tell you, I know I'm going to get up right now. But first, I mean, Brezzy, though, would you agree? I mean, listen, my thing is that, listen, they've put people in that they've, trusted maybe to do a job. Your Edus, and the manager Arteta. Are they not the right people? And is it their fault, the Kroenke's fault, to hire those people and for everything to be a shambles on the pitch? I mean, off the pitch, we're doing okay from a financial standpoint. I know with COVID, without COVID, we would be okay. But obviously with the COVID situation, they put measures in place. They've taken a loan out. They've been proactive in that respect. Would this summer's transfer window or business be enough for you to kind of say, do you know what, let's give these guys another chance, or you just sell up, get out?
This is me.
Yes, sorry, Brezzy.
Sorry. They can put 250 million, they can put 350 million, they can put 500 million. Get out. Simple as that. You've had 13 years at that club. You had all the time. You had all the money that you needed to actually put into that club to put us where we need to be. And you wait until now, where we're literally at a sinking ship at 8th place, to then say, "Oh, well, we're taking a loan out to give you 250 million." Well, sorry, actually been done like 5 to 6, 7 years ago when we're selling half of our players or letting them walk out for a free. Like he's employed these people to run this club. And he can't give a damn crap about it. That it says, "Oh, actually, you're doing pretty crap. Right, you're gone. Next person comes in." He's not active enough. He just sits in his little ranch drinking his tea or whatever. Counting his money
or something like that.
No, sorry. 250 million, way too late. Simple as that. He's gone. Well, it is for me anyway.
No, I mean I get that. And Gems, FTB high Jebs, poor scouting. Yes, but
wait, but do you think it's poor scouting though? Because Canners, what it seems for me, the reason I want to just intervene a little bit there is because there's so many times where we're linked to the right players, but we purchase the wrong ones. Like every summer we get linked to the right players.
Yeah, like
we're always purchasing the wrong ones.
Instead of Kante.
Yeah, Sionku and Pryor. I wouldn't have wanted Pryor anyway, personally. But those are two players we were scouting, and what club are they at right now? They're at Leicester.
Yeah, but do you know what though? What I would say, and I'm going to put this to you,
Candace, you go. But I was going to say something as well. Go on.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring in Silver Fox on this one. Look, listen. This transfer window has been a case in point for me, right? We've been rumored to be every Tom, Dick, or Harry, someone who maybe have a year left on their contract, who's half decent. Yeah. We're linked with him. Now, half these players, I would love to know the number of how many players we've actually been rumored or been inquired for, put a bid in, agreed personal terms with. I would love to know the number. I know a lot of clickbait. I know it's all a lot of clickbait, but my question is that there is work going on in the background, and I don't know. I just get a feeling that, as I said, work is being done, and you know what? These guys, and I think the Kroenkes might have actually stepped in to the point where it's like, okay, you guys ain't doing your work properly. I've sat back, seen you guys do what you do. You're not doing it properly. I'm going to step in now and instruct certain measures of what needs to actually happen. Silver Fox, would you, would you kind of like, I mean, to be fair, I would hate to be micromanaged. If a manager was managing me, I'd hate to be micromanaged. And I think Stan Kroenke just...
I don't believe any of these links and all these. I don't believe Bendia. I don't believe Ben White. I don't believe none of that. And I don't believe, not yet anyway, they're 250 million. Not time of the year, is it? It's time for a season.
No, it's true, exactly. And this point here by Mr. K is so correct. I mean, from net spend is different from actual spend. From us buying and selling, etc. And actually the outlays of actual transfers that are staggered over a number of years, and that's so true.
Yeah, and like I was saying, yeah, it's all renewals. They're trying to win the fans back, and even if they do spend 250 million, which a part of me kind of thinks that they might simply because we simply need to get back into European football. Now, they can spend 250 million, they can buy 5 or 6 players. We're all excited. We're getting back into the Champions League. And then they get to the next summer after all that, and we're getting freebies again.
Yeah.
I can see it happening. I can see it happening.
Yeah.
So,
go on. Sorry.
Go on.
So, my thing is that the board or is that the Kroenkes or is that the board who are dealing with everyday operations? Because my understanding of Kroenke's role is, here's 80 million, do what you need to do with it. It's the Gazidises before the Edus, before Sven Mislintat. It's them guys who decide what they do with that. So
is our play misguided? Yeah.
So again, he's got advisors who be telling him, this is what you need to do. And don't get me wrong, as I said, he wasn't proactive enough for me. So he's let the club spiral as you're in now. So he needed to step in years ago and say, actually, this team does need a refresh. Here's the 250 million. That should have come in 8, 9, 10 years ago. And again, I do agree where he's probably just happy with European football. He doesn't care about winning the league and whatever else. And that is a negative on him. But even if that's his mentality, the board could still, again, Leicester have come in with next to nothing, buying players from League 2 in France and have won a league. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So things can be done. It doesn't always, yes, I do get money. If you're doing a Chelsea or a City, you're always going to be at the top. You're always bringing in the best. And I'm not disputing that. Do you know what I mean? It is facts. If you spend the most money, you're going to in and around it all the time. I'm just more of the realism that we don't have a chairman like that, as much as I would love one like that. And actually, there's teams who have worked on less, who have done better. But again, there's also teams who are in the same boat as Arsenal. Like I would say, AC Milan were the biggest club when I was growing up. And they're now where we are because of bad investment and bad management. So I do feel...
Sorry.
Bring King in.
So there's a club like Leicester.
Before you step in, King, I just wanted to say, just a couple of chats that we have here. It says, obviously, Mr. K, again, you guys realize this is probably the most important summer I've ever seen in your club. Other teams ain't sitting around and can smell blood. And just this last bit, you guys are even connected with Sabitzer. Actually,
what's wrong with Sabitzer?
Yeah, he's not a bad player. But
he's
King,
not a bad player.
I wanted to ask you, and I know you wanted to step in there with what Gumsa was saying. But is it all their fault?
Yeah, quite frankly. If I own something and it falls into disrepair, I'm not going to blame anyone else, am I? It's under my care. It's under my duress. If I have ownership of a house, I have ownership of this flat.
Disrepair. At what point for you did it fall into disrepair?
I mean, to be honest, I mean, we could pick out a number of points, you know, like, I mean, I personally think, you know, the moment, obviously the Champions League final 2008, you know, I think the cracks began to show then. You know, fast forward a year, Armoury's left. You know, who do we replace him with?
Well, he came in 2007. He put his first investment in 2007. So that was a year after the Champions League final. So obviously things were kind of like going. I remember
he was already sliding from there.
He was already sliding. In terms of our club, right? That's what I meant. Yeah. So let me just put that into perspective. Our club.
Yeah.
If like that's when there was a change, and at that point, what the club needed was some stability. They needed probably at that point, you know, like I think the players, the squad that we had at that time was decent. You know, I think, you know, no one's disputing that. But obviously what was clear was no matter how good it was, it needed to go to that next step.
We always needed that one or two players, didn't we? There was always one or two players short.
Yeah, it needed that injection there.
Yeah.
You know, because as I said, City now, most windows, you see them linked to one, maybe two players max, because they've done their kind of heavy load of lifting. Yeah. Now it's just kind of maintenance. Yeah. And we kind of dilly-dallied around that from that point.
We was at that point. We was at that point. I remember we bought Reyes, and it was a nice addition. It wasn't a prerequisite that we had Reyes, but I remember we bought them in the winter. So we was at that level. What actually happened? Is it really the Kroenke's fault that's
because look, this is what I'm trying to get to explaining, right? Which is the Kroenkes were presented to our board on a prayer, on a whim. They were told that these are the guys that are going to come in and behave no differently to how Abramovich and these other like
no. They came in and they said that they're going to behave at the same time, at the same way as your Peter Hill Woods, your Ken Fryers, etc., and do things the Arsenal way. The Arsenal way has always been, you know, pretty much one of conservatism in terms of, you know, I remember what it took. Wiltord was our top transfer of like 16 million. Do you know what I mean? And where other teams were spending 30s and 40s.
The season where we fell off completely was the year where we bid 40 million and £1 for Suarez. If we were a serious club that year, we would have bid 50 million for him. We would have got him, and we would have ended up probably winning the league that year. Then we wouldn't be so far behind.
I'll repeat that. Is that Kroenke or is that Gazidis and Wenger?
Gazidis and Wenger. That was that. I'm pretty sure that was. But no. The
reality is,
Kroenke don't put the bids in. Kroenke don't identify the players. That's not his role.
The point I'm trying to get to. I'm sorry, but the point I'm trying to get to, is Gumsa repeatedly stipulated that Leicester are the wayfinder of a club that can do things. You know, more inventively on a shoestring, however you want to put it, But what is the difference between Leicester's owner and ours? He's present. He's in the stadiums, Even though
that doesn't matter. Do you think his chairman Frank Kante?
Let me finish, bro, because I let you finish, right?
Go on.
So respectfully, right? Basically, what you've got, is he's doing the same thing. He's saying, look, I'm going to leave you to do your thing, but he's not in another continent across the world in a different time zone trying to sort of oversee what's happening. So when things start falling by the waistline a bit, he can see it. He's there. He's in the stadium. He's amongst the fans. He's immersed in the culture. Do you know what I mean? He's in the country. So he's got to know the fans. He's got the lay of the land. There is communication that is open and transparent, between the owner's advisors, the press, etc., and the fans. Yeah, so everyone, like I said, you don't see fans protesting when Leicester sell Maguire for 80 million and then only investing half of that in a Soyuncu because they trust these owners. Because that's what happens when you're present, when you're around.
Hold on.
There is trust. You garner that up, yeah. And quite frankly, yeah, these Kroenkes are not interested in that. And the thing is, they've come from a different country. They are trying to project how sports franchises in the US work onto the UK model, right? They don't understand the nuances of English sport and how it works and how football is different to American football and American sports.
The Liverpool owners have done it.
The reality is, if they were interested in finding that out, they would fucking be here, bro.
But just question, is it? Sorry, guys. Just one more thing, sorry,
just a couple.
Sorry,
of
there's one thing. There's literally one question. Is it the Leicester owners who found Mahrez and Kante and Soyuncu?
No, but they employed the people that did. But they employed the people that did, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So just put the blame in the right areas. They said they weren't proactive.
So and if you're saying it's the advisors that they've got around them, yeah, right. Then clearly the Kroenkes, after 13 years of failing, couldn't be like, something's not right here.
Yeah, and
our advisors are giving us bad advice or whatever. Right, yeah?
If you remember, I started with that.
Ultimately, it's a choice that the Kroenkes have to make to change, right?
And I said I started with that.
Starts and ends with
I started with that. Hold on, let me go quickly. I started with that. They weren't proactive, and again, they came in with Wenger, who's led this club for many years and was the man. Wenger was the man.
Yeah.
So if he's telling them this is what it is, they're probably going to believe what Wenger's saying more than
because he's done it.
Other things because he's done it. So, yes, and again, the same thing with Emery. When Emery's come in, and I will put that into kind of the level of Tottenham now. Emery's probably looked at the squad. He's made his big dossier like he did, and he's probably said, with this team, I could do this, and this. And they probably said, all right, we'll give you a go. It's a bit now like I'm looking at Tottenham, where how many people have gone for that job, and they're probably saying to do something with this team, we need this. And Tottenham have turned around and said, we're not giving you that. Them lot have walked out the interview room.
Yeah.
So I believe Arteta's gone in and said, we've tried it Wenger's way, it didn't work. We tried it Emery's way, it hasn't worked. If I take this job with Edu, we need wholesale changes. And that's what we're seeing. They're getting people going for free. Do you know what I mean? So that's showing you they're trying to get rid of all of the rubbish. Yeah. So actually, he's probably brought into Arteta's philosophy and said, actually, we have tried it Wenger's way of just bringing in cheaper players and making do. But obviously, the league has got better. So when you look at what Wenger used to qualify top four with, I don't know how he did it. But actually, now, if you look around, everyone else has got stronger. And we stayed in that mindset of signing.
I tell you how Wenger did it. Wenger did it leveraging his experience, right? So to begin with, when these changes needed to be made, why is he trusting an inexperienced sporting director and an inexperienced manager? Please tell me.
I would question.
The people that
Wenger was getting top four, like you just said, right? And you don't understand how he did it. The one thing that distinguishes Wenger from Arteta is experience, right?
But Wenger didn't finish in the top four when he left. Wenger, the top team was in a shambles. Yeah. This is, as I said, we can argue it until we're blue in the face, but this is the first time I've seen actual difference.
But we can agree that the last manager that had us in a place that we needed to be was an experienced manager.
And he also took us out of that place. He also took us out of the Champions League.
Listen, I've never known a manager to split a fan base as much as Wenger did. As much as he did for us, he split the fan base. Just a quick one, guys. Pyro Destiny, great content. Thank you, Pyro Destiny. And also, I just wanted to get onto this from James. And I think it's a great point, to be honest. Ultimately, you want owners that love football, that will care about the trophies,
100%.
Not just the money. Why would you invest in something you have no interest in? I mean, there's a double-edged sword of that, right? Because look, listen, one thing as much as I agree with that, what James is saying, you also got to think, listen, unless you got a stupid amount of money and you're a businessman, you don't want to throw away your money. You want to keep your money and you want to invest in something that's sustainable and that's going to keep on making you money. Now, you can put in money, but you have to put an amount where you think, okay, do you know what? Over X amount of years, I'm going to get this back, you know, with the investment, what you're putting in. And if you don't, then obviously you're a bad businessman or whatever. You've made bad decisions. And I think just at this point, there might be a case of, do you know what? We've had a bid. It's a healthy bid. let's see if we can make this investment work, because we can take it to another level. If 2.2 billion is what's being offered to us now, just imagine if we actually do start making Champions League, football, getting to the latter stages, challenging for, the Premiership.
Canners, what I would say about the current situation is this, right? Because as you were saying earlier, I don't need to see my owner. I'm not begging to see.
I don't. I'll be happy as long as we're performing.
That's it. Like, and if we're not performing, that's when we have to see him. We need to hear his voice. We need to hear what is your plan to get us out of this situation.
So for you, he's not been proactive enough.
He's not. And on top of that, like if he now invests 250M to this project, I'm at least gonna say, look, at least he's trying to back a project now. At least, do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that.
Would he buy more time for you then?
100. He has to, like, because at the end of the day, 250 million fixes a lot of our problems right now in our.
So I don't think it'll be that much.
So let me just.
But
yes, King.
That doesn't mean that he's going to be forgiven for all the mistakes he made in the past. I'm not saying that. 100%. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, at least this is the first summer where it would sound like he cares enough to invest in the squad because of how bad and how declining we are. That's what I would say. That's all I would say about it. But still,
these are the facts about this 250 million.
Yeah.
Right. The PR spin behind it. We took out the loan from
who leaked that? Who leaked it? Someone must have leaked that.
Yeah, for sure.
We took out the loan from Barclays. Yeah. They've now said it's an undisclosed amount, but it was between 100 and 120 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the rest of the money that they're saying that Arteta can spend is from player sales. So he's making it seem like money is being pumped into the club. He's being very disingenuous on purpose. Yeah. And he's not doing that without a reason. It's not like he's saying you've generated this revenue. Yeah. I'm allowing you to spend it, which is what he was doing before. There are 16 clubs in the Premier League at the moment whose owners have invested more money from their own pocket into their football clubs than Arsenal Football Club.
But we have the third richest
owner. So let me get to this whole thing about how disingenuous this 250 million thing is. Because what he's saying is you can keep the money from the sales and you can have the money from the loan. Yeah. And then they're floating out this, we're letting Arsenal, we're pumping 250 million in. It's bollocks. They're like, and before, what they were doing is they were curtailing how much or how little of Arsenal's revenue that they could spend. We have made a $300 million loss in the last 3 years. There is no longer, like, we are not generating revenue. We're at a loss now. So if ever there was a time for him to put his hand in his pocket, it's now. But even now, he is finding these stupid ways to avoid that, but make it seem like he isn't.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't care how he's using it. If he spends 250 million, and regardless if it's on player sales, this loan, that loan, I don't give a damn. As long as we're spending 250M this summer, big up that. That's it. I don't care.
The major problem, right? The major flaw, right? The major flaw is this.
Hungry,
right? Pre-season starts on the 6th, 8th of July.
We're on that up.
Sorry.
Yeah, carry on, Gunner.
Pre-season starts on the 6th or the 8th of July. The season starts early this season. You've got the Euros happening right now. So negotiations aren't happening. So what I said, about the difference between here's 250 M's, you can spend it, and here is a loan of 120, but then you've got to raise the other 120, is we got to be relying on those sales to get the other 120, right? There's no negotiations that's really going to be, have you noticed, no transfers for European players have really been happening. And you've had Copa America at the same time. And you've had AFCON at the same time, So that's basically Olympics tied up, and the Olympics straight after. You've got all these tie-ups, for players, right? And then what's going to happen is pre-season's going to happen. And because we've had to wait for that other bit, there's only going to be a level of investment we could have done, when what we need to do is just do it up front, as early, during, or before pre-season as possible. Bed these players in, give them as much of a pre-season as possible to give us the best chance of being successful.
But I'll be real. If
but that's not down to Kroenke, right? That's down to the team he has.
I'm not going to say if he gave him the money early, there's still it. Just say we brought I don't know who's that centre midfield, Locatelli. We could buy him now, or we could buy him in 3 weeks. He won't come through the door until the same day because after the Euros, he's going on holiday anyway, and then he's coming in. So as much as preseason would have started for the Aubameyangs and them boys who haven't been at a tournament, them boys at a tournament are going to take their time anyway. So it's going to be a disjointed preseason. I do hear you, Gunner. If the money was in the bank right now, we could spend it. They might have tied up 1 or 2 of the targets. But end of the day, we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know where that money's really come from. Again, you said it's the loan, and I do understand. I do understand what you're saying. The money's there in advance, but equally, I remember you brought up a point when Liverpool brought their centre back, but that's all they needed. So they could have targeted that target. We've got a lot to do, and I think we're assessing what you can find for what price. Because again, we have got to be a bit more savvy with the money than Man United right now. Man United probably need 1 or 2.
For me, it's not even the money thing. As I said, it goes back to the Leicester owner. You're saying you want us to be like Leicester.
I don't want us to be like Leicester, but
no, but I mean in terms of how they do business, their business model, their business that it needs higher touch. Do you understand it? It needs more open communication, and quite frankly, between the owners and the fans, there is little to none. You know, like that bothers me more. You know, because when the ESL happened, where was the communication? Where was the buy-in?
That's everyone
on this. No,
this is what I understand, right? Let's take this from an owner's perspective, okay? If the ESL comes about, okay, and you've got all these big teams from Spain, Italy, and obviously the other 5 teams, big teams in this country, okay? If that comes about, okay, and that looks, it's going ahead, right? You've got these big, they're actually pushing for it, right? As a business owner, do you want to miss out on that? Listen, don't get me wrong. The way it was all come about is a load of crap, okay? Right? It was rubbish and stuff. But with the amount of money, everything that was, it would generate and stuff. As a business owner, are you going to want to miss that train? You got to be serious here. As much as we, want to be kind of like, to the whole game and everything, and be kind of like, romantic in that respect.
Nah, I hear you, because money. Like, if you came to me and like, yo, there's this thing where Real, Barca, Man U, and Liverpool, they're all on it. Like, so what you? And
it's going ahead.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna listen to the conversation.
Of course,
like, they're on it as well, and then Juve say they're on it too. Mate, we don't want Arsenal to miss out on this thing. So I get it.
And as an owner, tell me as fans, honestly, right? If obviously if it wasn't put in the way that it was, right, and it was, I don't know, something UEFA based, I don't know, but it had obviously the mechanics of it, and it was a load of crap. That was the thing for it, yeah. But if it was all kind of kosher from a fan perspective, okay, or whatever, and you was asked to kind of come into it, and the owner said, no, we ain't going to be part of it, and it went ahead. As a fan, what would you say about the Kroenkes then?
We would have gone ballistic if we turned it down, and it was
of course. But
especially we would have lost it.
In the league, maybe.
It's true. It really is true.
But that's the kind of thing nobody really spoke about. Really, at the end of the day, it's like if a train's about to move, and all the big men who normally sit at the big table are on it, you don't want to miss that train.
And who said? Look who said it. Abramovich basically said that's what it was. I didn't really I wasn't spearheading it, but every man was on it. So I was like, yeah. And as soon as you lot said you weren't on it, I was like, okay, cool, Chelsea.
Exactly.
The thing is, right? Look, this is the other thing. To be clear, what you said there about Abramovich not really being involved in it. Yeah. What does the ESL like the mechanics of the competition, the way it's set up? What does it mirror? American sports franchises.
Yes, we know that. But the thing is, you got the big players,
not just the Kroenkes, the Glazers, FSG as well. Yeah,
it was the Glazers and FSG that were the front runners of the whole thing.
And FSG, credit to him, has at least he was the first to come out and apologize. The way that
he was the one that convinced Kroenke to be part of it, though. So of course he's the first one to apologize. FSG and Glazers
the only reason why the German teams, they wanted to be involved, but the only reason why they couldn't is because they're part owned by the public, by the fans.
Well, this is the larger conversation.
Otherwise, are you trying to tell me that those German teams would not have been on board with what was going on? Listen,
But the whole point is though, but with that though, with the German teams, with the fans owning that, the fans would have been made aware. There would have been that transparency there. Look, this is the situation. We've been approached about this because they have ownership. They have some input, some stake in the club, so they would have known these things. So that transparency would have been there. So this is what I'm trying to say. They brought the fans' trust out as they grew, as their controlling stake in the club grew, which is something you spoke of Arsenal's history in conservatism. That is something, that is a tradition they've always kept alive. Yeah, they've always kept alive. If they cared about this club, right, the controlling stake they had would have been more than adequate enough to keep doing what they're doing. But but that wasn't enough for them. Because that was all part of sweeping this under the rug. Yeah, getting the fans control away, getting their controlling stake out of the club, so that then they could just do this
without being asked
by telling us rather than asking us, right? So I don't understand why I'm having to defend why these Kroenkes need to fuck off.
No one's disputing that.
No one's disputing it. I'm just being devil's advocate here. I'm being the devil's advocate.
I know, bro. I hear that.
Listen,
I hear that.
Kroenke's out to the world, bro.
Yeah, I'm with that. But I'm with that. No one's disputing it, Chris. Like, again, you're making very good points. We're in agreement. But it's sometimes looking at the other side. If we were successful, no one would be having this conversation. If Gazidis and that done their job like they should have done, this conversation wouldn't be being had right now. Do you know 100%. What I mean? And that's the 100%. Difference. Like, Gazidis should have removed Wenger at a certain time. Do you know what I mean?
If you own a car and the engine seizes up because you didn't put oil in it, do you blame the car or the owner?
Tell him, King, them big burn energies there.
But if I send my car to the mechanic and he messes up the brakes, am I blaming myself or am I blaming him in the mechanic?
Oh, Gumsa,
come back!
Gumsa, you're a stud, mate. We're going to clap back. Hey.
So I'm not saying I'm Kroenke at all. I do think he could do a lot more for us.
But the analogies, really boys, are brilliant. Yeah. It's great analogies. And you're right. You're both right. At the end of the day, listen, ultimately, the owner is accountable for his car, essentially. So regardless, he could take it to Joe's Mechanics down the back street or whatever, and he could say, yeah, I've put oil in and not bothered. Who's to blame? It's the owner at the end of the day, you could say. So it always comes back. Accountability always falls with the owner, in my opinion, anyway. Yes, the garage or the mechanic might be responsible, but he's not accountable. It's all about race.
And this comes back to
you as the owner of the car to do your research on where you take it.
But this goes back to what Nigerian was saying. Someone sold him a dream, as in Wenger and Gazidis sold him. This is how we do things. He believed in them. We kept getting top four. So he was like, okay, cool. You're doing what you need to do. Then we started dropping. He then said, right, we've got to remove that, bring someone else in. So now he's got a new mechanic who said, I'll be able to keep the car running for a little bit, but it might need a bit of surgery.
Listen,
that happened with Armoury. It didn't work. All of a sudden, now he's gone to a new mechanic who says, we need a brand new engine.
Boy, we just need a new car. It's going.
I'm sorry, but the fact that they were willing to even accept top four being enough in Wenger's era, it just... Again, like, it just comes back to what they are prepared to accept is
we need a new car.
Mediocrity. Sorry, I didn't hear that then, Nigerian.
So I'm just saying, like, King's basically saying we don't need a new mechanic, we need a new car.
We need the whole thing. I would happily take a new car. I would happily take a new car. Yeah, happily. But as I said,
it's up to the owner to actually dip in his pockets, right?
Yeah, but as I said, with Nigerian saying, do you know, if it's taken us this long to get to the point for him to put 250 in wherever it's come from.
I actually think we're there now. I actually think we're going to see massive change. Just so
we're starting to see some good changes. Don't get me wrong. You know, like that's not the basis that I'm saying that I want them out. It's just
no.
It shouldn't come to this. You know, like we are literally, you know, in a situation now that was highly avoidable. I mean, I get that they were sold dreams or whatever you want to say, but I mean, you know, as I said, if there was closer contact between the owner and the club, like with say Leicester, you know, they'll be able to see these things, you know, and they took some time to appoint the right manager, and they went, you know what, if we're going to go down this model of buying players south of their prime, you know, that haven't established their reputation and banking on their value increasing while selling our best asset every season and reinvesting that money and keeping the fans on side and staying competitive, you think the Kroenkes are the only ones with these problems? No. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, right, the differences with Leicester, right, is that there is a clear plan there, and they've obviously got the right people in place. And when they didn't have the right person, manager-wise, they were like, because we're using this model, we better get an experienced manager, because he's going to be needing to get the most out of players that aren't there yet. He's going to be working with.
And I hear you. But again, I'll say, when 60 mil coming for Alexis when he's got a year left, that wasn't Kroenke saying, nah, keep him. That was Wenger and Gacida saying, we're getting to sign. Do not keep him there, we're getting to sign. And then he walks out on a free. So again, it's, yes, they got to be held accountable. They should have stepped in earlier and said, actually, this is not running correctly. Like, do you know, I remember Liverpool owners were the owners who stepped in and said, no, we're selling Coutinho. It wasn't, do you know what I mean? It was someone above the management who said, 120's come in, he's got to go. And yes, the Kroenkes have got to be accountable for allowing
and then they use that same money to get them back.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there's got to be some accountability.
Yeah. Okay, so the title of this video is do the Kroenkes have good intentions? I've got another question to add to that. Stan, does he have good intentions? Josh, does he have good intentions? Do we believe what Josh says?
No.
Have you, in terms of...
I want to kind of hold my powder to the end of this window.
Yeah.
For my
I think
right now, yes.
The answer to that, yeah. If he does these 250 million, if it happens,
yeah,
boy, it appears, even if it might be a smokescreen, that he's listening to what's.
He'll have some credit.
Yeah, some credit in the bank.
My conclusion, and what I've seen and heard from Josh, he says the right things. Whether he means it, obviously, is another thing. But we don't hear nothing from Stan. So we can't trust him. We can't trust him. But Josh, I think he has good intentions.
But we buy
all the money.
We buy 4 central midfielders, a left back and a right back, bro. And by the end of this window, boy, I can't complain about a lot of things.
You couldn't. No, you'd have to tip your hat and just say, do you know what?
Let me take this apart.
Arteta and the coaching team now to get the best out of them.
Let me take apart this notion, right? If you think, right, let's look at Chelsea. Let's agree that when they spent 200 million on players last season, their squad was in significantly a better place than ours is now, right?
Fact.
Yeah. So that investment, if it wasn't for bringing in Tuchel, would have gone down the drain. Let's be honest, because the way that they were performing in the league,
there's always an element of luck involved,
right? No, it wasn't really luck.
No, the owner stepped in and got rid of Frank.
Thank you.
You got what I'm saying?
No, but they didn't know Tuchel would work. They didn't know 100%.
They didn't know it would work. Listen, they didn't know it would work, but they knew that something wasn't working. But I'm not making that point. Yeah, the point is, even with that level of player investment, they scraped top 4 on the last day of the season. Let that sink in. Yes, they won a Champions League. Yeah.
So that sink in.
The reality is, like, they're gonna have to go again, and they're going in again. Hakimi and Haaland. Like, one window is not going to be enough. So if we're going to sit here and say,
they still won the Champions League.
If they spend 250 now,
how can I ever say it's Chelsea that they won the Champions League, bro? Like, they won the Champions League, like, so that 200 million investment worked towards that.
What you're saying, Chris, I agree. 250 is not going to be enough, but what this 250 is going to do is put us in a position to get our philosophy in place. So actually,
and
get rid of the old.
I believe it.
Bring in the young, bring in the new. Now our average age is dropping right down. Now again,
what's going to happen next summer when they're chasing the top of the chasing pack is City, and they bought either Kane this year, so they buy Grealish next year, or the other way around. And
if this investment gets us into the Champions League, it changes our summer anyway.
Yeah, and then what it is again, we all talk about. We know what our philosophy is. We're going to mirror Liverpool. We're going to mirror Leicester. That's what we're building towards. We're not. So there's no point in bringing City and Chelsea in, because them two do things different. Now, by bringing the average age of the squad down, means we've now got players who we can sell at a higher cost. So you spoke about it all the time as well, about bringing in these players, which they're costing you 30, 40 million, like your Sionkus, which you then sell for 60 to 80. So what they're doing now is they're putting the 250 in to say, right, this now regenerates our squad, and then we can now move forward with the philosophy. So in 2 years' time, it might be a case of Martinelli gets sold or whoever it is gets sold for 60, 80, 90 million. Now all of a sudden you reinvest that. Chelsea's 200 million didn't just come from Roman. That's Hazard being sold and whoever else got sold within them 2 windows.
They had a transfer embargo, didn't they? So they had money from that as well. So guys, what I want to do, do you know what? Sorry to cut you there, Gumsa, but what I'm going to do is just I guess summarize it in the sense that I think we will pretty much know what we want with the Kroenkes and what they got to do. We do want them out. We do want someone who loves the club. And also as well, but hey, listen, if they're not going to sell, let's hopefully get back some credit with them doing the right thing.
We asked this question in September, didn't we?
Yeah, just the last one here from philosophy of the club is make more money. And do you know what? It's a business. These guys are businessmen. These guys don't make their billions by just sitting at home and just say, oh, do you know what? I'm going to buy this business. I'm going to buy that business. The Arsenal model basically is something which is profitable, can be profitable, and it is self-sustainable. Yes, he might now and then have to dip into his pockets. He's doing that probably at the biggest chunk of investment than he's ever done in his tenure here. And at the end of the day, he was brought in by Peter Hillwood and those guys, and they all, basically were taken on by him and his company as to be the next custodians of the Arsenal. And we've got to go with that. We've got no choice. They're actual owners. Guys, I want to, thank my esteemed guests as always. It's been passionate and it's a beautiful thing. All Arsenal fans coming together and discussing and being passionate. I love it. But what's even more beautiful is the Armoury TV has got their own channel. Yes, the man's then what you see here are all part of this. They're all listen. This is all. Listen, we've been waiting for this for a while. It's something which is big. It's going to take us to a new level. Shows galore, content, the right content what the Arsenal fans want to see. And do you know what, guys? Just for you, I'm going to give you a little something, a little glimpse of what is to come. Trio. Wednesday, the 30th of June. Listen.
Subscribe now.
Armoury TV. We're launched. I had a tear in my eye there, man. You guys and your little vids there. Love it. That was tremendous. You
yours
guys
is the best bit, bro.
Yeah, listen, hey.
Man.
Got me wanting to make a cup of tea now.
You got to have an Arsenal cup though for that, mate. Listen. You.
And I'll add to that, Kenneth. You can subscribe now. The link is in the description.
100%. That smash the likes as we normally ask you guys to do. Subscribe, and also yes, the link is in the description. Subscribe to the Armoury TV. Listen, we got the best content that's going to come out for all you Arsenal fans.
Fire.
You just keep it right here, guys. I want to thank you all. It's been a healthy discussion, and I think there's a lot to come at the end of this transfer window. I'm sure we'll be revisiting this and actually saying, "I told you," or "Hey, do you know what? It's not all so bad." How we can challenge this year. Listen, go enjoy some more of the Euros. Love.
Kroenke out.
Okay, I'm
All the
with
way
you.
out, all the
Yeah,
way
Kroenke
out.
out.
Ah, no. Bringing that.